great snapshot there by Kenny Roda. That's why he's the best on the sideline there, getting the good image there of Tavon Castle's sideline toe tap catch there. Welcome inside Dan Bracker's Import Automotive Saturday morning huddle. Happy Veterans Day to everybody. We appreciate those who have served no matter what branch of the military. So Dan Brocker is a big supporter of Veterans Day, the military, and of course the Saturday morning huddle. So we appreciate them. We appreciate you for tuning in with us tonight or this morning. We've got 2 Stark County teams left, plus Green, of course. And Kenny, 2 great games last night. Lake and Massillon was closer than the score tells, and you had a fun one in Canton South.
I feel like Adam Schefter here this morning, working on my phone, trying to line up all our guests and everything for today. And we'll get to our guest list very shortly. But yeah, congratulations to the Massillon Tigers, still undefeated in Division II. We'll get to how they beat Lake last night. But our game, Canton South, like Massillon, 13-0 now as they defeated West Branch 40-21. And while we talked so much about the offense, and deservedly so from Canton South, like Massillon, it was their defense last night. What do you mean? They gave up 21 points. Well, West Branch was averaging 43.5 points per game. They held them to 20 points under their normal scoring average and shut down Boston Mullinex, their running back, who had 1,100 yards coming into the game. He didn't break 30 yards rushing last night. So while Poochie Snyder put up some more numbers and broke another record, and we'll tell you about it, it was their defense that really, to me, was the key to this victory, along with that guy right there. That kid, Poochie, he looks like he's about 14, right? But he's a senior, and he's the all-time career passing yards leader in Stark County and the all-time career touchdown passing leader in Stark County, as those 2 touchdown passes last night gave him 118 passing. Cam Blair, formerly the leader there from Sandy Valley. So congratulations to Poochie. And hey, 144 yards on the ground and 2 touchdowns as well. So he racked up about 375 total yards and 4 touchdowns in a regional semifinal game last night. And Rome Cox, we'll hear from him as well a little later on. He replaced Zion Culver as their feature running back. 100 yards the hard way last night and a touchdown. But the defense, to me, was the key. And Matt Dennison will join us somewhere around 11 o'clock today to talk about that big win last night.
Yeah, the highlights of that one, Kenny, as usual, tremendous. Poochie looked great. I'm throw him up on the screen here. I mean, Canton South, physical. They are multifaceted. I mean, you're getting running, you're getting passing, you're getting receivers, quarterbacks, running backs, getting the ball into the end zone. My big question is, what happened with West Branch? I know you talked about the Canton South defense. We thought it'd be a little more high scoring.
It was shutting down their offense. Bo Alazos came in as one of the top throwing quarterbacks in the area. They tried to run the ball early. West Branch tried to establish the run with their junior running back, Boston Mullinex, and they shut him down. When I say shut him down, I mean they literally made him a non-factor in the game. He finished with, how about this, 10 carries, 16 yards on the ground, Boston Mullinex, and he had over 1,100 coming into the game and 19 touchdowns. He did not score running the football. And then Poochie Snyder just went and did what he does, and that's distribute the football to a number of different running backs, wide receivers, tight ends. He ran the ball effectively, and it was just a complete win for a team that last year got to this point and lost. And so they've achieved a number of their goals, Billy, right? They wanted to win an outright Pac-7 championship, check. They wanted to go undefeated in the regular season, check. Well, they wanted to get to a regional final, which they didn't get to last year, check. Now they want to win the regional final. So they're checking off their goals as they go. And it was a combination of defense, offense, and special teams, as they got some help last night. 2 big field goals. As I go through my notes from last night's game, Landon White with a 36-yarder and a 20-yarder. And one of them, and we'll talk to Matt Dennison about this a little later, one of them came right before halftime when, boy, I think it was a 99-yard drive for Canton South that put them up 20-0. All of a sudden, West Branch makes one big play. They're back in the game 20-7. West Branch tries an onside kick. They recover, or I should say Canton South recovers near midfield. You give Poochie Snyder 50 yards and 3 timeouts. They're going to get some points out of it, right? Well, they got a field goal right before halftime to lead 23-7, and it took the momentum away from West Branch. And then Poochie comes out in the third quarter, and the offense goes right down the field. They score a touchdown, and that's when Don Meredith, if he was doing the game last night, would have started singing, "Turn out the lights, the party's over." It was 30-7, and it was ball game at that point for Canton South.
Yeah, special teams. We're going to talk about it again today. You mentioned how important it was in your game. Right away, we flipped to my game here for a second, Kenny. Lake and Massillon, this was a fun one, right? We kind of thought there were murmurs. This thing might get out of control. Massillon really is booming right now. Well, I'll tell you, we're headed for halftime at a 7-6 game. Lake scores first. A great touchdown here. This would end up being their only touchdown of the game. Noah Kabaski, 48 yards to Ethan Hunt. Heck of a throw. Lake really, really needed that to get things going. But hey, like we talked about, Kenny, that only made it 6-0, and right. I couldn't hit on it enough. They missed that extra point. I believe it got blocked, and it was wide left. So I kind of mentioned, hey, this could come back to haunt them. Got to keep an eye on this now. Massillon, they get their touchdowns. They get them where they need them. DeJuan Owens was terrific after a very slow start. That's the key here, right? I don't know if it was the cold. I don't know if it was just they were trying something different. Massillon led off with a similar play to what they did against McKinley, and Jaquez Carter dropped it. The next drive, DeJuan Owens was overthrowing his receivers, and they were committing penalties. So next thing you know, Kenny, we're about 3 Massillon drives into the game, and they've got nothing on offense. So Nate Moore changes things up. They decide, we're just running the rock. They run it 7 straight times. They find themselves in the end zone. DeJuan Owens ran it 5. Jameer Gamble, who had over 100 yards, he ran it a little bit. So you had a 7-6 game, right? That leaves you a minute and a half as Lake gives it back to Massillon. I said on the broadcast, and I'm sure you could agree, Dan DeGeorge had to be very happy if it were 7-6 going into halftime, right?
Right.
Well, this is what changed the game completely. A 95-yard Massillon drive. Starts off with this run by DeJuan Owens. Terrific. 30 yards. Look at him. Hurl the defender. Gets to the sideline. Gets out of bounds. That's a great start. Then they go Jameer Gamble. Good run up the middle here. I mean, you just see that second level not there for Lake on that play. And then it's capped off by this touchdown pass to Tolles. Good error here by DeJuan Owens, who was really trying to get his arm down later in this one. So 95 yards, Massillon goes. That sends it to halftime. Killer. To go from what should have been 7-6 to 14-6, that really hurt Lake, hurt their momentum. They get the ball first to start the second half. Didn't matter. But the special teams point I want to make. Number 1, Massillon kicked an onside kick forward. Lake sat there and watched it, hoping it would not go 10 yards. Massillon looked around, said, oh, hopefully it's 10 yards. They jump on it. It was barely, maybe 10.5 yards. So they get that one. Then, Kenny, when this game's all but done, Massillon was scoring. Things were about over. They kick off. Lake's watching the ball roll. Keep rolling. Massillon climbs up, jumps on it at about the 20. That got him an extra touchdown. So you got 2 kicks that Lake should have done something with. They don't. And, I mean, that's a momentum swing in itself. But DeJuan Owens was terrific, of course. Over 100 yards rushing, just about 100 yards passing, touchdowns on both ends of that. When he was struggling early to get rid of the ball and complete passes, Nate Moore changed it up appropriately and ends up running the ball a little bit.
Here's the thing with Massillon and what makes them so doggone good. A team can try and come in and take something away from them, and then they can just counter because DeJuan Owens can throw it. He can run it. Now, he's a better runner, in my opinion, than a thrower, but look at that pass. I mean, that's picture perfect right there. That's the back corner of the end zone where Tolles is the only guy who can catch it or it goes out of bounds. So that's the great thing, and that's why I think this is Nate Moore's best Massillon team is because of this kid right here, DeJuan Owens. He can run it. He can throw it. He's a dual threat. So if, they end up playing an Avon or Green, well, they are going to play Green next week, who they lost to 2 years ago in the regional final, or if they get to Hoban. This is something I don't think they've had somebody who can do both very well. And that's why I think, along with his defense, I think this is Nate's best defense. And Dorian Pringle didn't even play last night. He missed last night's game and maybe out for another game. We'll have to wait and see with an injury. That's how deep they are, that they can miss their best defensive player in a regional semifinal and yet hold Lake to just 6 points and win convincingly 35-6, scoring the game's final 35 points.
Yeah, that was the other stat, of course. Unanswered, 35 points for Massillon. The other high point for them, of course, this defense is tough, led by Michael Wright Jr., who is on our 2023 All-County team here. See him getting in the backfield. Malachi Card was terrific. Chase Bond on that defensive line. Massillon gets pressure. They're physical. They're tough. And then plays like this, Kenny, they just kind of leave it up to their corners to do the little things. When your D-line is having this much pressure on the quarterback, it helps the corners just do a little bit, right? The ball's already in the air. The man's right in front of you. Just get to the ball quickly. That defensive line is tremendous.
And they play with a little nastiness, a little edge to them,
you
right?
see it
Do
there.
They play to the whistle, beyond the whistle a little bit, maybe? But that's that intimidation factor. And sometimes you need that. And this team, believes in themselves. And like I said, this is Nate's 9th year. He's played for 3 state championships. And I think they're going to play for a 4th this year. Now, we'll have to see if they can get by Green. Mark Geis, I'm sure, and Semino Manson are going to have something to say about that. But I've got to believe. And Nate Moore is going to join us later on in the show, supposedly around 10:30. We'll ask him if that, is a factor. Will they look back to that loss to Green, 26-25, I think it was, in 2021, late in that game, as a motivating factor for this week's game? But congratulations to the Tigers. Hats off, tip of the cap to Dan DeGeorge.
Yeah.
As Lake gets to a regional semifinal, their season ends, unfortunately, the same way it did last year, right? A loss to Massillon in the playoffs. But they had a very good year. They lost a lot of key players, had some ups and downs in the season, but were able to get to this point. So Dan does a great job. They finished 9-4. So congratulations to Nate Baker, Federal League Player of the Year. How about this? Massillon held him to 46 yards rushing last night on 10 carries. So if you take him away from a team that struggles to score points, that's going to be, their downfall, and it was. So good luck to Lake in the offseason. We'll see if they can come back again next year and maybe take it a step further. But Massillon, they get to take it a step further with their 35-6 win.
Yeah, and again, I want to make sure, end of my broadcast, Kenny, I'd like to kind of congratulate a team even when their season ends, right? High school football is a lot of hard work. You're practicing, you got games, you got pep rallies, you got film, all that going on while you're still trying to work out and things like that, and you're a student. I know being a student was hard enough for me. So doing all that and being a student, I always like to say congratulations to a team when their season ends. Look, not many teams make it to week 13, right? So that congratulations always in order. And again, that's why we'll shift real quick to McKinley, who fell last night. Let me double check the final on that. I believe it was 41-17. Is that right?
41-17 was the final, Billy, on that one. And congratulations to Antonio Hall. They make it to the Sweet 16, right? Because I heard Matt Dennison in his huddle and said, and then there were 8. So, they're down to the final 8. Well, McKinley got to the Sweet 16 in Division I in the entire state of Ohio. Unfortunately, they can't seem to get past that, mark. But they get there after losing. Think about this, Billy. We were wondering if they were going to win a playoff game because they lost in week 9 to Glen Oak 7-3. And then they get blown out by Massillon in week number 10. And we're sitting there thinking, they haven't scored a touchdown in 2 weeks. Are they going to be able to are they going to win a game in the playoffs? Well, they beat Strongsville, right? They win last week. And unfortunately, they run into the 2-time defending state champion St. Ed's Eagles, and they lose 41-17. But again, getting to the Sweet 16, a nice accomplishment for Antonio Hall. They'll finish the season again 9-4, but 9 wins, 2 playoff wins, and a Federal League championship outright for this senior class that goes out with what should be their heads held high.
Yeah, I kind of was with them in preseason, and I feel like they accomplished a lot of their goals, Kenny, like you talked about. The big one, of course, was they wanted to win their first game. Antonio Hall hadn't done it. They hadn't done it in a couple years, so they were trying to win the first game. They did that. I believe at one point they got to 6-1, so you like to see that from them. And then I think the tallest task they faced, right, was you talked about it, those 2 tough losses at the end of the year. Could they bounce back and win some playoff games? They did. Good job by them. And again, congratulations to all the guys that worked really hard over the 4 years and end up winning a lot of games for McKinley.
Yeah, I'm looking at some of the numbers from last night's game, the 41-17 loss in the D1 Region 1 semifinals. St. Ed's led 34-3 at the half. So we're looking at a running clock. Start the second half. They've got Deontay Armstrong, the 2 twins going to Ohio State. Ben Roebuck, we saw these guys play against Massillon, and their only loss this year, St. Ed's, is to Massillon. Second year in a row, by the way, Massillon's defeated them. Thomas Cheney, obviously, feeling more comfortable at quarterback. His first game filling in for Casey Bullock was against Massillon, right? That's a tough game for it to be your first game, and he struggled in that game. He didn't struggle against McKinley last night, according to the repository story. 13 of 15, 163 yards and 3 touchdowns for Cheney last night for Tom Lombardo's Eagles. Keaton Rohde, 2 touchdown passes in his final game and a field goal for the Bulldogs of McKinley. And Keith Quincy had a nice night. 9 catches, 140 yards, and 2 touchdowns. But they come up short 41-17. And now St. Ed's moves on to the regional final, and they'll play my Medina Bees. Medina surprised Cleveland Heights last night, 21-20. Cleveland Heights came down, scored what looked to be the tying touchdown. Instead of going for the tie, they went for the 2-point conversion and the win. And I haven't seen it yet. You did. I guess a shoestring tackle by a defensive back from Medina kept the 2-point conversion from being good. And Medina, Larry Laird does a great job with that Bees team. Medina surprises Cleveland Heights 21-20, and they'll advance now to take on St. Ed's in the regional final.
Yeah, that was the team we're watching here. Let's get to our first guest of the day here, Kenny. I'll let you intro him.
Okay.
I know you guys have kind of a special thing to talk about here.
Yeah, unfortunately, we're going to bring in right now, and he's the head football coach with Central Catholic, and that's Jeff Trucker, Linda Smith. And Trucker, thanks for joining us. I know it's a tough morning as Father Kaler has passed away, and I know he meant so much to the school, so much to you, so much to the program. Anybody that knows anything about Central Catholic knows Father Kaler. Just your thoughts on what he meant to you. Let's start there, first of all.
Well, first of all, to me, I was a true mentor. The guy that hired me back in 1986, a guy that introduced my wife to me. Baptized my kids, married me. You talk about Central Catholic, there's always usually about 2 names that come up. That's Father Kaler and Lowell Kleinfelder, guys that spent their whole lives there. Not just Central Catholic, I think. I think about him in the community and what he's done throughout Canton. He knew everybody, and everybody knew him. A great guy, a guy that, he lived his life for so many other people. It's kind of sad, but he's been fighting. He had a real bad stroke in 2016 in March, and he's had a real tough fall. I know that about 2 months ago, we didn't think he was going to make it through the weekend, and he made it through football season. I know we text him all the time from our sidelines, and he tried to keep track of things. But I don't know how many people over the last couple months I've talked to that he's married somebody that they knew, and they married them and baptized their kids, and just a great man. You talk about the years at Central Catholic, and he always told me this. He was a student in the 60s. Was a teacher in the 70s, became a principal in the 80s, went all the way till became the president, I think, in 2010 for about 3 or 4 years. So he spent, oh my gosh, what, 6 decades, 7 decades at Central Catholic. Just a great man.
And I remember your championship run, right? I got to meet him and talk to him there, and how special, that was for him, watching you, the guy he hired to replace Lowell, win a state championship. And he had such a great relationship with all your players, didn't he?
Oh, very much so. And I think he missed 2 games. I know he started charting plays for Coach Kleinfelder in 1974 and went all the way through 2016. And I think he only missed 2 games in that stretch. So he's seen more football games than a lot of us. We always say he saw more than myself. I know that Lowell missed, when he had cancer in 94, missed 2 games. So those guys are pretty close. They've seen a lot of great players and a lot of great teams. And that's just not football. He went to every basketball game. He was growing. I mean, he just loved Central Catholic and meant so much to us.
As you think back on your, time there at Central and, with Father Kaler, like you said, affecting your life in so many different ways, how was he able to impact, the kids' lives as well?
Oh, he was all about the kids. And, we had a special school because it's a faith-based school, and how he tied competition in and how he, tied faith with that was just incredible. And it was such a great teacher in that way that, such a classy guy, and he taught that all the time. But you go out on the golf course with him and he'd sure want to beat you, and competitive that way. And it was the same way. And he was always the last guy in the locker room to say, give us a little speech before a prayer, and then a little rah-rah speech before we took the field. And he'd get fired up for games. That's for sure.
Did he ever offer a play suggestion to you or any criticism to you during the season?
No, I don't think he ever did. You know what? We had some great times on the sidelines, but I'm telling you, I don't think he ever gave me a suggestion. He might have rolled his eyes a few times at me and said that was a little bit gutsy, or that was pretty good. But I remember many times looking over and doing, what do you think of that? And he goes, it was pretty good. But he was always so supportive of everybody, not just supportive of coaches, but the teachers and the students. Just a great man.
I know this just happened, but do you have any idea how they plan on celebrating Father Kaler's life?
No, a few months ago we had things, we were kind of setting things up. I know his brother will come back into town. He's up in the Detroit area. The plans are not out. I got notified late last night, early this morning about it. And I know there'll probably be a bunch of articles and things. At one time, I think they were going to have some services at Joan of Arc, and then our school is going to be opened up for, thousands of people that want to come through and pay their respects. And so we'll have plans going probably within a couple of days. I'm sure the community will hear about that. And like you said, you've touched so many lives. Pam Cook. I know that her and father were very close. Just so many people. A great, and I'm sure it's going to be a great tribute to a great life.
Yeah, please let us know, Pam, the Kenny and JT Show, WHBC, because the more ways we can get the word out, I'm sure the more people that will hear about and will want to come celebrate his life.
Yeah, I appreciate Kenny, and I know the Kaler family and all the Central Catholic appreciate the prayers and the thoughts you guys have for us.
Thanks so much for joining us, Trucker, and thoughts and prayers to you, your family, and Father Kaler's family. And like I said, keep us in the loop, all right?
Will do. Thanks, guys.
All right, Jeff Trucker, Linda Smith, and telling us about the passing of Father Kaler. We got word of that this morning, and we wanted to get Jeff on to just share some stories and some time with us here this morning. So we will indeed keep you posted on WHBC as more information about that becomes available. As we get back to the games from last night, Billy, the ones that mattered to us, obviously, Massillon beat Lake 35-6. St. Ed's unfortunately knocks off McKinley 41-17, and Canton South a winner 40-21 over West Branch. One more we'll throw in there. How about Green beats Canal Winchester 10-0, a shutout for Green as they've really started to come on late in the season. And now Green will play Massillon in a rematch of that 2021 regional final next week. We're waiting to hear where these games are going to be played. Now, fingers crossed, and a shout out to Terry Horn, the athletic director at Louisville, where we were last night. for the Canton South game. I talked with her. I said, do you have any interest in maybe hosting the Struthers? That's who Canton South will play, as they were victorious last night over Lake Catholic in an upset. Said, do you have any interest in hosting? She said, absolutely, we do. So what we'd like to see, it'd be easier for us, would be to have Canton South play Struthers at Louisville, and we would get Massillon against Green maybe at Hoover. So we would be in the same stadiums 2 weeks in a row. So as soon as we get word from the OHSAA on that, we'll pass it along to you. But that's what we're keeping our fingers crossed for, Billy.
Yeah, that's obviously what we'd love to see. And all I will say is learning what I've learned over the past 2 weeks of where games get scheduled, how they get scheduled. There is way more in this little pot of how the decisions are made than anybody considers. Not just, oh, it'd be easy to get there for fans. Well, who's hosting? Why should they host? What fan bases show up matters to people. I know you may not think that, but
Yeah.
OHSAA considers that. And now we're at the point, Kenny, where the bigger stadiums are going to get involved, right? InfoCision is up to host, I believe, this week, some sort of game. And then as we get closer to the state title, more and more teams will get involved. So we will keep everybody updated with that.
What I want to jump in, I hope it's at the same locations, because I don't know about your place last night at Hoover. We were filled, just right around 4,000 people there last night for that game. It's the perfect size for a game of Division IV standards and everything. So I would love to see it back there, and I think Hoover could handle what's needed for Green and Massillon. I know the OHSAA, they're in it to make money, right? They want to make as much money as they can with the prices they're charging for playoff tickets and everything like that. So maybe that Massillon Green game gets moved to InfoCision. We'll have to wait and see, but I'd love to see it at those two locations. I think it would make for a great atmosphere for both of those games. And there's something about it when a stadium is packed, right? Not when you have a huge stadium and it's just partially filled. It just creates a better atmosphere for the game. But like you said, the OHSAA doesn't care about the atmosphere. They care about how many tickets they can sell.
Yeah, I'll shout everybody out because at Hoover, it kind of worked out perfectly. Massillon completely filled that stands. I always give them their credit. Their fan base does very well. And then
Great
Lake traveled terrific. And they travel so great. And then Lake did a great job too, but you get a little bit smaller of an away stand, and Lake completely filled that. So it kind of worked out perfectly that Hoover hosts, they get a completely packed stands.
Yeah, it was, from what I was told, both the venues were fantastic with the way it was set up, the way, the ADs ran everything, and Terry Horn, like I said, does a great job there at Louisville. And a shout out to Pogies. We got fed again last night from Pogies, the food truck. We got some good eats last night. Let's see, what did we have last night, Billy? We had the pulled pork. We had mac and cheese. We had some baked beans. And we got snickerdoodles, cookies and peanut butter cookies for dessert. So that's always nice when you go to a playoff game like that and they treat you. But Terry does a great job there. She's one of the best in the business when it comes to athletic directors. So a shout out to her. And I'm hoping we're back there at Louisville next week for the Division IV Region 13 championship game between the 6 seed Struthers and the 1 seed Canton South.
Yeah, getting a lot of comments here. We appreciate everybody leaving comments here. You're more than welcome to. Your thoughts on the next matchup. Show your team some love, whichever it is. But we want to show some love real quick, Kenny, to our sponsor here.
Yes.
And today is a special day for our sponsor, of course, Dan Brocker's Import Automotive in North Canton. And as you can see, you can email them there or give them a call with the number in the top right. Forging iron and metal, the Dan Brocker's Import Automotive family started as blacksmiths in Jackson Township. As transportation shifted from horses and wagons, Ben Brocker switched to cars, opening in 1946. And as demand for work and imported cars increased, Dan Brockers found their niche. Today, Brocker's sole duty has been getting your car, foreign or domestic, where it needs to go. On Veterans Day, Kenny, the Brocker family salutes Ben Brocker of the Army and Dan Brocker Sr. from Navy. and a Vietnam veteran. And to all veterans, they thank them for their service. Again, all the information you need to contact them in the top left and top right corner, and head to their website, danbrockersimportautomotive.com. So good stuff there, Kenny. We appreciate them for sponsoring the Saturday Morning Huddle.
Without a doubt. We couldn't do this without our sponsors, and we appreciate them more than they know. So thank you for being a part of something that was started last year, Billy, out of nowhere, right? And has grown into a well-viewed show for anywhere from 60 to 90 minutes that we do it. And how about this? Matt Dennison's son-in-law comes up to me last night after the game, and he's like, hey, is he going to be on the Saturday Morning Huddle tomorrow morning? I'm like, absolutely. He goes, what time? Said, oh, he told me between 10:45 and 11 a.m. he could join us. He goes, he never tells us, but we tune in anyways. So we appreciate not only our sponsors, but our viewers out there who have, taken a liking to what we do every Saturday morning here on the Huddle.
And you know what? We're going to try here. I believe we have DeJuan Owens of the Massillon Tigers. We may just have him with audio, Kenny, so we'll try and add him in, see if he's working here.
All right.
Good morning, DeJuan. Can you hear us?
Yes.
Hey, DeJuan, congratulations on a big win last night over the Lake Blue Streaks, 35-6. What was the key to you guys being able to come from behind in a game last night where you were down 6-0 and then rattle off 35 consecutive points?
Honestly, it was just, keeping the team steady. Like Coach Moore said before the game, he always says it before the game, like, if the ship rocks, you guys got to be able to, like, keep it steady and, just be able to go out there and, like, keep the team motivated enough to go out there and, do our thing.
And DeJuan, to start the game, you guys had some drop passes, a couple overthrows. I know you changed the game plan a little bit. Well, what did you personally improve to kind of get that offense going?
Honestly, it was a run game. We had a good run game. All of our running backs had over 100 yards. I had over 100 yards. Milo Lennox and Mookie, Jameer Gamble had over 100 yards. So it was honestly the run game that got us going. But initially, it was the pass game we were trying to get going. And, unfortunately, we just had a couple of drops, but that was okay.
Those happen in a game. And what I like about your team this year, DeJuan, is that you've been able to overcome maybe some adversity or some turnovers or penalties. Where's that mindset come from? Is that from the coaches preaching it to you guys, or is that you as a leader talking to your fellow teammates?
It's a combination of both. Over the off season, we were preaching all off season, and there's gonna be adversity. That's always gonna be the case. So we just, our coaches tell us, if anything bad happens, don't dwell on it. It's just next play.
And I'm gonna check here, DeJuan. I think you have Coach Moore with you too. Do you?
Yes, we do.
Coach, good morning. Congrats on the win there. Talk to us about the playoffs so far. What have you liked from your team?
Well, we like winning. So every game's a next step, on the road in the playoffs. And, we're glad to still be playing football.
Nate, the thing that I've been impressed with since you've been there for 9 years now is there's always a bullseye on Massillon, right? You're going to get everybody's best game. So pressure is there each and every week, especially in the playoffs. How are you and your staff able to make sure the kids, don't fold under the pressure or don't worry about the pressure and just go out there and play their game and dominate the way you did last night?
I think a lot of that has to do with our off-season and preseason preparation, and we try to put the kids in as tough of situations as possible as we're going through all of our preparation, and we want to be able to operate like that all the time. We want to be one foot in front of the other. We want to be where our feet are, and we want the kids to know that they've experienced adversity, they've experienced tough situations, and that they've come out of that on the other side, and that when adversity happens, you just stay in the fight and keep pushing forward.
All right, DeJuan, not sure if you can see the videos we're putting up here, but I want to talk about this one play you had. It was a completed pass to yourself Break down this play for me.
All right, so we ran a simple smash concept, just hitch corner, and I was rolling out, and I had a little bit of pressure. I thought I could get the ball off, but I guess that D-line's, got through, and he batted the ball down, and then I just feel it on my shoulder, so I lick to the left, and it just falls in my hand, and I just start running, try to make the best out of that play.
Not how you threw it up, but made it work.
Yeah,
Yeah, if you had them in your fantasy league, right? You got a reception, you got a pass completion, plus his rushing yards, his passing yards, a touchdown pass, a touchdown run, and your throw to Tolles to cap off the end of the first half. And DeJuan, I want you to comment on this. And Nate, how important was, this drive and then that throw to, take the momentum into the locker room at halftime?
It was a really important drive. We were only up by a point, and we had it was 1:50 left. We were on our own 5-yard line, so it felt really good capitalizing on that and be able to go into the second half up. So it was really important completing that pass.
And Nate, what's that do for the coaching staff going into the locker room instead of up 7-6, up 14-6?
I mean, it really provided us a lot of momentum going into halftime. Which is important for the kids and everybody. With Lake getting the ball back to start the second half to go in up a full score was really important. And it was a great drive. Like DeJuan said, we didn't have a lot of time and we started backed up. And so kudos to the coaches that called the plays and the kids for executing and being able to march down the field and I think we completed it with 1 second on the clock. So we're efficient. And so we like that.
Coach, I know we're talking a lot of offense here, of course, with DeJuan joining us, but your defense was tremendous last night. Specifically, your defensive line was really getting after Lake and held him to a scoreless second half. What did you see from your defense?
Yeah, I thought we played really well, very physical. Which is one of our markers, especially our defensive line. I thought Mike Wright had a tremendous game. I thought Malachi Carter had maybe his best game of his career, and our guys just play hard, play with great technique, get after it, and be disruptive. Happy for those guys.
Nate, did you challenge those two individuals and maybe the rest of the defense, knowing that Dorian wasn't going to be able to play last night, or did they just take it upon themselves knowing they had to step their game up?
No, Sean Robinson did a great job playing our Mike linebacker, and it's the next man up, and Sean's got to take over that position, and I thought he did a great job as well.
All right, DeJuan, Coach just mentioned Mike Wright Jr., Big Mike, as they call him on the defensive line, but when he checks in at running back, does the offense get a little excited to get him in there?
Yeah, we get a little hype. We get the big guy running the ball. It's very exciting seeing him run, getting touchdowns.
Coach, I was blown away in the Massillon McKinley game when you brought him in on that 2-point conversion. Is this now? We saw you a couple of times this year, but to have a back of that size, I think he's listed at 285, right? I think back to the Fridge, who was a lot bigger than him, but similar concept. When did this idea come about that, hey, that this is a good short yardage guy, but a great 2-point guy?
Mike played running back for us in junior high, and so we, he that's always been in the back of our mind. He started for us as a freshman at defensive line, and then last year also as a sophomore, and so this year as a junior, he's got a lot more experience on the defensive line, and so we felt comfortable expanding his role a little bit, and he's done a great job in our short yardage package along with Dorian Pringle, and he's not back there because he's big. I mean, he's athletic. He can run a little bit. He fits in all the running back drills. He's a running back. He's big, but he's a running back, and does a great job for us.
Last question for you here, DeJuan. Coach Moore named you team MVP for our banquet coming up on Thursday. What did that mean to you to be named the team MVP?
It meant a lot to me, just coming here, just trying to put in work, doing the most I can for this team, and it just showing it on the field. It just meant a lot to me.
And Coach, last one from me. Next up for you guys, the Green Bulldogs, who have come on late in the season. They got healthy. Samino Manson is back at quarterback. This is a rematch in the regional final from 2021 where they defeated you guys late in the game. Is that something you will bring up? Is, I don't want to say a revenge factor, but a get right factor, or do you not even reference that game? It's a different team this year and you just worry about your Massillon Tigers this year?
We're just worried about our next step in the process. We know we have a great opponent coming up this week. Green's really good on both sides of the ball. Quarterback's excellent. They've got some really good defensive linemen, but overall defensively, they get after, play with great technique, play with great effort. They've got a slew of great receivers, some good running backs. I mean, they're a complete team. And the only thing we need to worry about is a 2023 Green team. They're very good.
All right, Coach and DeJuan, thank you for joining us this morning. Good luck, guys. We'll be at your game next week, and of course, see you at the banquet on Thursday. So thank you both.
Thank you.
Take care.
Thanks, guys. Yeah, DeJuan Owens, man, that kid's special, right? I mean, he comes in from Copley. We saw his numbers last year. Like, all right, can he put those same numbers up, for Massillon with the schedule that they play? Well, you may not see the enormous numbers, but guess what? A lot of their games are blowouts. So he's only playing 2 quarters, 2.5 quarters, whatever it is. So he and Poochie Snyder, in my opinion, were the 2 best quarterbacks in Stark County this year. That's if I'm voting on it, those are the top 2 quarterbacks in Stark County this year. And he can throw it, he can run it. He's fit in. They worked him in. Remember, Billy, they were rotating he and Jalen Slaughter back and forth. So he ends up winning the position. And we saw that in the St. Ed's game where they went to him and he led them to victory. So he's as good as there is in Stark County as a football player. Yeah,
and there's no real waiver with him. Kenny, he was struggling to throw a little bit. He had some overthrows. It was cold. He was throwing them high. His receivers had some drops. And Nate Moore says, you know what? I still have a great running quarterback who can lead this offense, who can run the option. It's exactly what they did on that 95-yard drive here. Again, this kind of sent them into the halftime up 2 scores instead of 1. Very athletic, quick, good decision-making. You can see he doesn't want to take a hit there. Then they go to Gamble. I mean, this is a quick, hurry-up offense to get him a second touchdown. So if DeJuan Owens is struggling to throw, they can run it, but then they can go right back to him on a play like this where they know he can throw.
Look at this throw. I mean, you can't drop it in any better than that right there in the corner of the end zone. The Lake players were saying he was out of bounds. The officials agreed, touchdown. That's a picture-perfect throw. And the thing that stands out about Poochie and DeJuan, their ability to make people miss and to not panic when there's traffic all around them, right? When there's chaos all around them. They just find the seam, find the hole. Look at this. I mean, there's 4 guys that had a shot at him, and he turns that into about a 20-yard gain. And Poochie did that last night as well. And that's really what separates those 2 players for me offensively in Stark County above everybody else. And we had some, Colucci's good at Fairless, Petro at Sandy Valley, Zerbrug's going to Oklahoma from Alliance. Those are all good quarterbacks. But to me, these are the guys that were really special this year. And guess what? They're the 2 quarterbacks of teams that are still playing in Stark County, right?
Yeah, and that's maybe the end of the day only stat that matters, I think, is who's there at the end. DeJuan, great vision, good arm, and then you got Poochie, who Matt Dennison calls on him.
Right there, physical. Billy, right? That cut, he got the defense moving all the one way, and that was on 4th and goal. So that was do or die, and he takes it in. And then look at this throw. We talk about DeJuan Owens, picture-perfect throw. That was the record breaker right there. touchdown pass number 117 in his career for Poochie Snyder to set the Stark County record. But this one over here, an easy throw for Poochie on the run, wide open wide receiver. He gets the ball where the ball should go. And that's the other thing. His ability to read defenses and take what the defense gives him is what is so impressive. And those numbers from last night in a regional semifinal, 377 total yards and 4 touchdowns. And he's the all-time touchdown passing leader in Stark County. And they remain undefeated, just like Massillon. Like I said, Poochie 13-0, DeWan 13-0. Those two teams are playing for a regional championship next week.
Great stuff. And you got to love Stark County football in that way, Kenny. I mean, seeing a lot of go Wildcats and go Tigers, right? In the same comment, which is crazy to me. But hey, we love that. That's how people support Stark County. Good stuff there. And I want to get back to McKinley, whose season ended, unfortunately, Kenny. But I like the interview that Antonio Hall did with Frank Salona after the game. Good mindset for him and kind of a good recap of the season here. So let's take a look.
All right, Coach. Obviously, the outcome's not what you expected tonight, but this team showed a lot of fight.
Yeah, I mean, that's who we are. You know, our guys are never going to quit. I challenged them at halftime knowing that they were going to accept it. That's a hell of a team. We had a lot of self-inflicted mistakes, a lot of turnovers, stuff we can't do against a great team.
Talk about Quincy tonight. I thought, he came back in the second half and had a real big half for you there. After this was a running clock, but, he never quit, and neither did Roda.
Right. You know, both guys are great competitors. Keaton's really had a great second half of the season. You know, Keaton being a 3-year starter, he was going to go out swinging, and that's what he did.
What did you learn from this team this year, Coach? I mean, you had some ups and downs, but at the end, what did you learn?
This team got a lot of fight, and they play with a lot of pride. And, although things didn't go our way all the time this year, we always came back. We always fought back. We dealt through adversity, and we just kept battling.
All right, Coach. Thank you so much for your time.
Appreciate it.
Thank you.
Yeah, Antonio Hall, after the way the regular season ended, for his team to play 3 more games, right, Billy? We were wondering, are they even going to score another touchdown this year after not scoring against, Glen Oak and Massillon in back-to-back games? No touchdowns in 8 quarters. And they win 2 playoff games and, they bow out. How about this? There's a good chance they have 4 losses this year, right? They're 9-4. There's a good chance that 2 of their 4 losses will be to the Division I state champion and the Division II state champion, right? So that says something, that you were one of the final 16 in Division I, and potentially 2 of your 4 losses, were to state champions, eventual state champions. We'll see if Massillon and St. Ed's can do it. Massillon's looking to win their first ever state championship in the playoff era, whereas St. Ed's is looking to win their 3rd in a row, which is crazy when you think about all the great teams in the state of Ohio. So, but a good year for, the Bulldogs of McKinley. And now let's see if Antonio can build on that for next year.
Yeah, I'll give another plug to our banquet, which is coming up on Thursday, Kenny. Tickets are on sale, $30, cash or check. Just come on by WHBC this week. Get your tickets. Grandma, grandpa, cousins, anybody can come. Just the idea that the kids are on the all county team or their team MVP, they're going to get a plaque. They're going up. They're getting a picture. We've got our player of the year, coach of the year, Jim Muzzy Award winner, Jim Johnson Award winner, which is a teammate award, and then a scholar award. So, this is a full night with a lot to do and a lot to see in this one. So stop by WHBC, get tickets. And I say that because I'm thinking about, Keaton Rohde, his career comes to an end. But his coach get opportunity there to kind of salute him, the effort he put in there late in that game. And then, of course, he'll be honored as his team's MVP on Thursday.
Yeah, we're going to be at the St. Hieronymus, right? The Croissant Center, 6 o'clock, doors open, 6:30, dinner, 7 o'clock. The program will begin. I'll be emceeing. Dan Belford will be introducing one of the awards. You'll be introducing one of the awards. And it's great to honor these kids for the time and effort that they put in to get the recognition that they deserve, right? For their individual achievements, for their team achievements, and to see the parents of the players as well, who put in a lot of time, blood, sweat, tears, money, travel, and all that to make sure their kids are able to play. And it's just nice to get everybody together in Stark County. And we started there, right, with the coaches preview show at the Croissant Center, and we're going to end it this year at the Croissant Center. And I can't wait to announce Player of the Year, Coach of the Year. And the great thing about those awards, Billy, as well as the all-county team, they weren't picked by us, media members, right? Those are the 19 coaches of the teams that we cover in Stark County that got together this past Sunday and vote on that. So these are the coaches who know more than you and I do about high school football, right? It's their job. And so they pick the teams, and that's why we think it's such a big honor, because the coaches make these selections.
Yeah, I agree with you there. That kind of is the best part, that those guys get to vote on that, and then the kids get honored. Back to your game a little bit, Canton South, a big win there. You talked about Poochie breaks the record. Defense was tremendous. And then a guy that's really come on for them, Kenny, has been Rome Cox. And I know you got to talk with him after the game.
Yeah, he had a big factor. He was a big factor in this game. And I was questioning on the broadcast, and we'll ask Matt Dennison about this when he joins us a little later. They kept running him, and they were getting 2 yards, 3 yards, and they were setting themselves up in second and long situations. But they kept doing that for 4 quarters, and he started to wear down the defense, and he ended up breaking one for a big touchdown. So he takes over for Zion Culver, who they lost. How about that? Their number one running back is out for the season, right? So Rome Cox has to step in and fill that role, and he's filled it very nicely. And we had a chance to catch up with Rome after the game to talk about his impact on their win last night, 40-21 over West Branch.
You know what, Kenny? We may have an audio issue there, so I'll try and get it fixed.
Okay.
We also got to talk with Poochie, so let me see if that one's working here.
Yeah, Poochie had a big game last night. Again, 2 touchdown passes, 2 touchdown runs. And so both of those guys were instrumental in Canton South's regional semifinal victory over West Branch, 40-21. So if we've got Poochie, hopefully, fingers crossed with the audio, we'll hear from Stark County's all-time passing yards leader and touchdown passes leader.
All right, we're joined by our Old Carolina Barbecue player of the game once again. You're going to get fat. You keep winning this many awards like that, Poochie Snyder. Congratulations. 2 touchdowns running, 2 touchdowns throwing. And last check, you win 40-21 over a good West Branch team. What was the key to a very dominating win tonight?
Yeah, it started early. You know, defense got some big shots. We were fortunate to go up 3 scores. I know they had that long one right before the half, but then we even came down and kicked the field goal as well. So offense moving the ball and sustaining drives. That drive right before the half, we went 99 yards. It was like a 15-play drive, and our offense really kept moving the chains tonight, taking time off the clock, and really keeping our defense off the field, which was crucial.
How important was that? You get a stop on 4th and goal. You score on a 99-yard drive. It's a 14-point swing at that point in the game.
Yeah, no, it is. It's all the momentum, too. You know, we really felt it on our side. Our defense kind of capitalized off it, and we were able to roll off it, too.
We knew you'd score. That's what you guys do. But your defense the last few weeks, a good Bookdale team, you hold them to 26. A very good West Branch team, you hold them to 21. What's been the key to the defense getting better each week?
You know, getting quick stops, you know, and getting the ball back in our hands. I think West Branch was averaging 44 points coming in tonight. You know, we had them to 21. I know they had that long one for the half, too. But really just getting the ball back in our offense's hand, and our offense really played. I know we saw it out in the red zone twice. Well, really once because the field goal for half, but it was a great team win overall, though.
For you, another record, 2 more touchdown passes, now 118 in your career. You're the all-time touchdown passing leader in Stark County history. What's that mean to you?
Yeah, it's really special. And to get it tonight in this type of environment, this win, I mean, this place was packed. You know, this win's for the community, and to play for regional championship next week, it just means a lot.
What's the difference between this year's team playing for a regional championship next week? Last year's team came up 1 win short of getting there.
Yeah. And frankly, it starts with the defense. You know, our defense is getting stops. They're not what they were last year. They're getting the ball back in our hands, getting turnovers, getting quick stops, and our offense is rolling and kind of doing what we do.
for this team to get their 14th win next week? What has to happen in practice this week and next Friday night?
Yeah, I don't know if we got Struthers or Lake Menor yet. I don't know if you know.
Not sure
but,
yet.
we just need to keep playing discipline. You know, that was really the key to it tonight. West Branch was a very disciplined physical team up front, and we executed well. There was a couple times where we kind of lacked in some areas, but very disciplined and just another great week of practice.
Last thing, and I'll let you go, because I know last week you were happy that you won, but you were pissed you turned it over twice. Ball security, you guys didn't have a turnover here tonight. What did you do mentally or in practice this week to make sure not just you but everybody took better care of the football?
Yeah, ball security was really emphasis going into it. You know, they kind of stressed all week. They wanted to win the turnover battle too, and unfortunately we were winning tonight. We got that late pick, but emphasizing in practice, and that was the motto all the way throughout.
Congratulations on the win. Congratulations on another record, another $25 gift card.
How about that, man? That kid's is as good as there is this year in Stark County. Like I said, Ian DeWan Owens are very special. And at the time we didn't know, but we know now it is Struthers who won on a trick play to upset the number 2 seed Lake Catholic last night. So it'll be Struthers against Canton South, Division 4, Region 13 championship at a site to be determined.
Yeah, good vibe you guys had there. I mean, Neil Diamond's in the background. Poochie.
Everybody was singing. It was a party last night. They started with Cool in the Gang right after the game celebration. Neil Diamond, I think maybe they dropped in a little Living on a Prayer, Bon Jovi or whatever else. So, it was a party for Canton South after a convincing 40-21 win over a good West Branch team.
Yeah, good transition here as you talked with Poochie. And now we have the head coach of Canton South, Matt Dennison, joining us now. Coach, was that your song request?
It would have been if I would have had a choice.
As long as you win, right?
That's right.
Coach, I was so impressed. I want to start here, and we'll get to Poochie. But your defense last night, Mullinex comes in over 1,100 yards. He doesn't even get 20 yards rushing last night, and it looked like they were trying to establish him early. Your defensive game plan, can you share a little bit, not too much, but a little bit with us, and how you were able to execute last night and dominate on defense?
Well, the big thing was we wanted to eliminate the run early. And, making teams one-dimensional is huge, especially in high school football. And that's one thing where we were able to balance last night on offense, and that put them on their heels a little bit. And we were able to do both things where we stepped up, we stopped the run and did a great job. But, if you look back, we have stopped the run all year. We've lacked some discipline things. The scheduled run has been something that's been a strength of ours because that was our complete and total point of emphasis because we couldn't stop anybody last year and with the run. And that was our complete point of emphasis. And it just keeps getting better and better and better each and every week. I mean, and last night was a lot of hard work coming to fruition.
Coach, I ask about this throughout the season, but I definitely noticed it last night at Massillon and Lake. It was cold. It was bitter cold. Guys were dropping passes. Passes weren't exactly flowing through the air. Does the weather change how you guys want to run things?
No, not at all. We're going to do what we do. And it was cooler last night, but the nice thing is we had a horrible week of practice as far as weather is concerned. It was bitter cold and our kids got used to it. And that was good because, last year we went up and played Jefferson area and it was as cold a night as I can remember. And, I've only had one game that was that cold in my career that I can remember. We get to go to that stadium again this week coming up. That it was cold and we didn't react real well to it. The cold really hasn't affected us because we've practiced in it already and our kids are used to it. And our kids, they're pretty focused.
All right, real quick. You said you get to go to that stadium. Do you know where you're playing then Friday night?
It looks like it's in Northern Summit County, which I get to go home.
Okay. All right. So
it might be a THS.
Okay.
I don't know if I'm allowed to say anything yet, but it might be a THS.
Okay, very good, Coach. I want to go back not only to your defense, but I thought the turning point in the game last night was they're about to score. You stop them basically on the 1 foot line, right? And then you go 99 yards, led by Poochie and an array of other players catching and running the football. Was that the turning point when you go up 2 scores and it's a 14-point swing right there?
Yeah, I mean, we go up 3 scores on that when it was going to be a 6-point game, so that was huge. And to we milked most of the clock. In fact, after that, I'm like, oh, good, we're going to get a stop here, and we're going to be up 20-0 at halftime. And and I was going through my mind, okay, we get that score, we're at 27. That's I'm going through all the math in my mind. But that was huge, and the huge thing was, and I thank them for kicking onside, being able to get. I mean, that's 13-16. When you're looking at a program like a team like us where we can do it, we can milk clock, we can go fast, whatever we need to do. That 16 points was huge because it's a 2-score game, but it's actually you got to have 4 scoring plays offensively.
Right.
So that was a huge momentum shift for us, and then getting the ball coming out and making it a 23-point. It would have been nice to get a stop there, but we sometimes we just don't make it easy on ourselves.
Yeah, and Billy, what he's talking about there was they get a big play. Alizas finds a wide open receiver on a breakdown communication, whatever it was defensively. They score, and all of a sudden you're thinking, okay, West Park's got some momentum maybe going into the locker room at halftime down 20-7. And then for whatever reason, but you were prepared for it, Coach, right? They tried an onside kick. You give Pucci a field of 50 yards, 3 timeouts, and 50 seconds or whatever, you're going to get some points out of it. And you took the field goal there and then got the ball coming out of the locker room at halftime to score again.
Yeah, that was big. And we knew they onsided probably 60 to 70% of the time we've seen him on film. So that's something we were prepared for. He had taken he took long steps when he's kicking deep, short steps when he's kicking long. Kicking short, and we knew it was coming when he did it, and our kids were prepared for it and did a great job with that all night.
Coach, how do you kind of decide towards halftime when the clock is lower or your offense won't have as much time? I mean, at what point do you decide, all right, let's just get into half, or you think you have enough time to grab an extra score?
With our quarterback and receivers, we're going to take a shot most times. I mean, that is, and it's kind of funny. I forget what game it was. It was a big game. We scored. We had 37 seconds left this year in one other game, and we were able to get a touchdown in that game. So I saw 37 seconds and 3 timeouts. I'm like, this is an eternity for our guys. In fact, Pucci's scrambling actually hurt us a little bit time wise, and I got on him a little bit today because he had a receiver on time. We could have taken a shot to the end zone, but when you take when you can get on a guy about that, that's pretty good.
Yeah, that's not too bad. When you win 40-21 and you're still coaching them hard and he accepts it, that's why you guys are where you're at this year, as well as, the other players on this team that have gotten you to the regional final against Struthers. And we'll get to them in a second, Coach. But I want to talk about Rome Cox, and we're going to see his touchdown run coming up here in a little bit. But I was wondering, I'm like, well, a lot of 2nd and 7s, a lot of 2nd and 8s, right? But you kept pounding him early. Was the game plan to do that because you thought you could wear them down and eventually this would break?
Yeah. We tell our kids, and we told them since week 1 that listen, if we run the ball on first down, if we get 2, we're okay. We're ahead of the chains with the way we play offense. The biggest thing we can't be, and I equate it to the NFL. The NFL, they don't give a crap if they give a ball and it's they run an inside outside zone and get 2 yards on first down. That puts them on schedule. And we feel if we get 2 to 3 yards on a run and first down, we're on schedule. So that's been a point of emphasis the entire year for us, and it's kind of crazy. Never really had that issue where I could say that before, but with as many people as we can go to. That's something that we've prided ourselves on and we've talked about all year in the locker room.
All right, Coach, let's watch a little bit of film here. First on this play, I want you to break down Tavon's catch, and then after I want you to break down Kenny's camera skills here.
That's a great job on the camera. That was right at the end. It was third, and that was huge because I think we're up 2 scores right here.
Yep.
We're up 13 right here, and they called a timeout, and we talked about sprinting out and running this play to the field, and the kids were like, no, they're getting to us on the field. Let's run a short side. It's what we call a hinge route. It's a sticks route, and Tavon it's his best route. I mean, he runs this route as well as anybody I've had, and If you saw, we teach that. That's the number one play we put in, the what we call the hinge. And right now, if you look at it, the hips go, I throw. Watch. Hips go, I throw. Right when the hips drop, he throws it and hits it on time. Trey did a nice job getting up the seam and taking the flat defender out of it here. You have they had a blitz coming off the edge, but the only guy that could undercut it had to worry about that, and it was a nice play. When you got guys that can do that, it's impressive.
Yeah, keep running that, Billy, because I want to point out a couple of things. Watch Poochie in the backfield. He gets hit from the backside, Coach, right? Just gets this off, but he stands right in there and delivers on the money.
Yep. I mean, we talk about our guys, making those. We talked a lot to him about sometimes you got to stick in there in big downs and take hits in big games, and he did a great job with that.
Now, there's a little push off there. Is that something you talk to your receivers about for next week? Hey, don't extend that arm. Don't give the referee.
We talk about it, but every receiver in the country does it, so we can talk about it forever.
And he gets, both feet, not one. And then there's Coach with two arms up in the air because you knew at that point, right, Coach, that first down was going to allow you to milk the clock and wrap up a trip to the regional finals.
Yeah, that when we talked about it, they took their last time up right before our touchdown. When they took that timeout, we talked about that how big that was because we made them take all their timeouts. So even up 2 scores, it would have been really tough on them.
Well, great stuff here, Coach. Love to see it. And I know you got a lot of supporters, both in our comments and Poochie mentioned in the stands. He said it was a party last night during the game.
It was awesome. It was about as electric as I've seen. And we got to do that again this week up at Talmadge and bring all of Stark County up and support us because that really made a difference. Who would have thought that Canton South brought way more people than West Branch did to a football game, and that was awesome. It was fun to see. It was an electric event. It was something that was really special, and it was awesome. It was my mom's 85th birthday, and she was happy as a lark after the game talking because both my parents are 85, and they come to every game. They do a game every week, and being from a football family, she said that was the best present she could have gotten. That's a football mom right there.
That is awesome, and a shout out to Grandma Sherry, Poochie's grandma. I know she couldn't make it last night, but she was listening and everything, and she makes great cookies and muffins and everything like that, which we've been able to partake in. So thanks, to her, and our thoughts are with her. But I want to get back to Poochie because, as I told you last night post game, you see the numbers: 2 TDs rushing, 2 TDs passing, almost 400 yards in a regional semifinal. But he now is the all-time leader, not only in passing yards in Stark County history, but passing touchdowns, surpassing Cam Blair now with 118. Coach, again, I ask you each time we talk to try and put into words, his performance and what he means to your team.
Well, that's hard. You can see it. He's a leader, and he's got the tangibles. It's about the intangibles with him. He's a warrior, and everybody follows suit. And he's a great teammate, and the kids rally around him. And then he knows, how to get the ball in the end zone. He knows what to do. He makes great decisions. You look at it, the thing that's even more impressive, I think, 38 touchdown passes right now this year, and 3 interceptions, and 2 of those were against Dover. So, he's just done a great job his entire career, and I think he's gonna do great things at the next level, and I think he'll see the fruits of his labor here hopefully on Thursday and into the future with some awards.
Let me ask you about Struthers. Billy and I watched the game-winning play last night. They went to trickeration to upset Lake Catholic with a double pass or whatever that was. What do you know about your next opponent, Struthers? Because what I saw from other highlights is they have a very athletic running quarterback, kind of like Poochie as well. But what do you know?
They're going to run the football. They have the running backs run for 1,000. Both running backs have run for 1,000, and so is the quarterback. They play in tight games. I've got to get on the film a little bit. They play a tough schedule. They're from Youngstown, so they think they're tougher than everybody in the world. So they think they're going to just come out and be more physical than us, and that's why I told our kids that's that Youngstown mentality. So we've got to go up there. We've got to go up and assert our will and play tough physical brand of football also, and show them a little Stark County football.
Absolutely. And no turnovers last night. Last thing from me, Billy, with Coach, no turnovers. I talked to Poochie about it after the game, and he said, yeah, that was an emphasis in practice, and it's got to be that way for the rest of the season.
Yep, everybody's good. That's a key factor in any game, and especially when you get into, right now, every team that's left in the state of Ohio plays good offense, plays good defense, most of them have good special teams. And if you don't do those things, you're going to get beat in all those phases. And part of that is creating turnovers and not having turnovers. And that's going to be, again, it's going to be a point of emphasis. And then being on time. The only criticism I had, we could have done a few things better on rhythm than we did. But, we showed we can do a lot of things. We had the 15-play drive, a 99-yard drive. We had a 19-play drive that ended in a field goal, and a lot of people think of Canton South and our offense as, all they can do is quick strike you and that kind of stuff. And we're a big play team. We showed last night. I mean, we gave them the ball 3 times in the second half. That was, wow. A great job.
Good stuff, Coach. Good luck with your game, of course, next week. I'm assuming you'll be at our banquet Thursday. Can you give us a preview of your outfit, what you're thinking about sporting?
Well, yeah, I got my daughter got married this summer, so I'll be wearing a nice, really cool blue sports jacket, because if I pay that much daggone money for a sport jacket, I'm going to wear it to all those occasions. So I'll be wearing the shirt and the sport jacket my wife conned me into buying when we walked in a store that I thought was just a nice men's store, and it was a fancy men's store and not stuff a place that school employees go to very much, and they suckered me into buying an outfit, so I'll be wearing that outfit.
Oh, great. Well, Coach, we'll see you Thursday night, and then again on Friday. Congrats on the win. Happy birthday to your mom, and best of luck the rest of this season.
All right. We appreciate it, guys. We appreciate all you guys do for Stark County football and the support you give us.
Thanks,
right,
Coach.
thanks, Coach.
How about that? 85th birthday for his – he didn't tell me that yesterday. That's nice to know. That's a great birthday. But if you're a son and it's a football family, come on, his dad, right?
Yeah.
That's as good of a birthday present as you can give anybody.
Yeah, and a great story in Canton South as they continue to move forward, led by Poochie Snyder, Kenny, but not all Poochie Snyder, as we continue to talk the defense, Rome Cox, different names kind of popping up for that defense. I know Tavon Castle's playing 2 ways. I got to meet and talk with Tyler Pugh, and I'll give another plug. You want to meet and understand this Canton South team and get a glimpse into them, you can go to our YouTube. We did a video with them a couple of weeks ago talking about the 5 guys that grew up together playing Pee Wee ball. And now, Kenny, they are heading to a regional final in their senior year. Kind of awesome.
Yeah, it is. It's really awesome. And everybody's contributing. Poochie gets a lot of the accolades and the spotlight, right? And it's deserving. Don't get me wrong, but it's more than just Poochie, right? This is a well-rounded team. 2 field goals last night, special teams recovering onside kicks. You mentioned Castle. I think it was was it Castle had an interception last week, right, to help set up the game-winning touchdown. So and Rome Cox now, the feature back, unofficially 24 carries, 100 yards, and a touchdown on the ground last night. So he's that bull in a china shop that gives him that physicality on offense. And then Poochie's just so smooth. And you're too young to remember this. He reminds me when he runs the football of Bambi, Lance Allworth, former Hall of Fame wide receiver of the San Diego Chargers. It's just effortless, head on a swivel. He takes, the defender with him and then just cuts back, puts that foot in the ground and makes people miss. He's just fun to watch. And when you put that all together, you've got a 13-0 team playing for a regional championship, which sounds like it'll be at Talmadge High School. So we kind of let the cat out of the bag on that one against Struthers.
Yeah, we appreciate Coach for that, I guess. And I know a lot of people were wondering. So thank you there. And again, reading through go ahead, Kenny.
No, the Rome Cox. Are we still having difficulty with the audio?
Yes, yeah.
Okay. Well, then here's what I want people to do. Sorry about this, Rome, but it is up on our Instagram page at WHBC. So if you want to see, and I urge you to go check it out, especially Wildcats fans, I had a chance to catch up with Rome Cox after the game last night, and you can watch that interview on our 1480 WHBC Instagram page. We had some audio issues here this morning with it, but Poochie's interview is up there on our Instagram page, as well as Rome Cox from last night. And all of the highlights from last night's game are on our Twitter page at 1480 WHBC, and those have gotten a ton of views already, through this morning. So we've got you covered, from Billy to Frank, myself, Derek Philo, everybody that is doing games or covering them on social media. We've got you covered. Just go to 1480 WHBC on Twitter, Instagram, and then our individual pages as far as other stuff that we'll put up there.
Yeah, that's definitely the place to go. And especially, Kenny, we're going to be giving locations, info for the banquet, different things like that. So really important to stay tuned there. The finals, again, if you did miss them, St. Ed's beats McKinley 41-17. So again, congratulations to a good season for the Pups. Massillon defeats Lakes 35-6, and Green beating Canal Winchester 10-0. Canton South, your game there, 40-21. Canton South defeats West Branch. So all those matchups below, Massillon will play Green, Canton South will play Struthers, and we're out of Division I teams now.
Yeah, and if you want to know, in our region, right, D1, Region 1, it'll be McKinley playing Medina, who survived Cleveland Heights last night, if you have any interest in that. And then we'll see come November 30th, December 1st, and December 2nd, right, Billy? Who ends up playing for the state championship games at Tom Benson Hall of Fame Stadium. And we're keeping our fingers crossed that 2 Star County teams will be there. Canton South, undefeated. Massillon, undefeated. Both as good as anybody in their division, right? Sometimes you need a little luck. Sometimes you just have to outplay your opponent. And so hopefully both of those teams will make it there. And for everybody out there, here's the schedule for the state final games. Thursday, November 30th, will be the Division II state championship game at 7 p.m. A lot of people think it's going to be Massillon and Hoban. So we'll see if those two get there to the state title game. On Friday, December 1st, Division VI game at 10:30 a.m., Division III game at 3 p.m., and then Friday night, December 1st, the Division I state championship game at 7:30 p.m. And then you move to Saturday, December 2nd, at Tom Benson Hall of Fame Stadium. In the morning, they'll start it off with the Division VII game at 10:30, the Division V game at 3 p.m., and then we're hoping the final game of all 7 state championship games this year at Tom Benson Hall of Fame Stadium on Saturday night, December 2nd, will be the Division IV state championship game with Canton South playing for a state title. So good luck to Massillon and to Canton South as they continue this playoff journey. They're halfway done, Billy, right? You got to win 6 games to win a state championship, which to me is crazy. So both teams now, the Tigers and the Wildcats, are halfway there with 3 wins.
Real quick, I got your Rome Cox interview loaded up here.
Oh, we do. We're ready to. Oh, nice. Look at you. What did you text Dale? Did Dale help you out, Mr. MacGyver, to get it fixed for us?
The redo was taking a while to load, so we'll get it up here.
All right, here's Rome last night, 24 carries, 100 yards, and a touchdown, and he was a big factor in that 40-21 win for Canton South over West Branch.
A big factor in this game tonight. Body blow, body blow, body blow, and then finally late in the fourth, you break one off for a big touchdown. Just what's this mean to you to get to a regional championship?
Man, I mean, a year ago, I was on the couch watching the game.
Right.
So, this is so special to me. First and foremost, I got to thank Coach Dennison for believing in me, no matter what, no matter it looked like it was working or not. We was going back to it, and Poochie helped pick me up with the run game. He's one of the best runners I've seen, and he's not even a running back. So, and then, we just kept the defense honest. We mixed in the pass. So, yeah, it was a great win, great all-around win. We all play hard.
I was commenting on the sidelines, man, he's not getting a lot of yards, but, it is a body blow. Are they going to keep going back to him? Did you feel that you were wearing them down, though?
Yeah, you can hear it. When I hit him, sometimes you hear so I'm like, and I go back to the huddle and be like, hey, let's go. Like I can feel them. You know, I can feel them giving up, and you know, obviously at the end, I ain't gonna say they gave up, but you know, we just executed real well. So
Defensively tonight, you guys hold them to 21 points, about 20 under their average. What was the key defensively, Ron?
Honestly, I mean, we just wanted to play the same football we've been playing. We've had great effort defensively. We had great scheme, great practices defensively. So we just wanted to stay aggressive and read our keys no matter what. It was a pretty tricky team to watch. You know,
right.
Sometimes they might fake the run and go to the screen, stuff like that. So we just had to read our keys and trust our coaching. And, you know, that's what we did.
So you're playing for a regional championship. It sounds like it's going to be Struthers next Friday night. Okay. Not sure where, but that's who it is. Just your thoughts on getting a chance to play for a regional championship and the chance to go to the state semis.
It's special to me, but it's way more special for the town of Canton South. You know, I mean, the town of Canton, they deserve this. I mean, loyal fan base.
Right.
This is probably one of the biggest fan bases I've seen, and I've been in a couple D1 schools, so. You know, I mean, this is probably the biggest fan base I've seen, and they're loyal. They're going to stick with us no matter what. So, you know, I mean, the town deserves it. So, yeah.
You were a key factor, but I just want to, what's it like playing with Poochie? Because we see, like tonight, 118 career touchdown passes, first all-time in Stark County history. We see him throw it, we see him running it. As a player, to be in the huddle and on the field with him, what's that like?
Dude's an athlete. He's a goer. He's a warrior. He's probably one of the most, you know, courageous, brave people on the field. A lot of it, I think that's underestimated about Poochie. You know, you witnessed him earlier in the year play on a broken finger.
Right.
So he's a warrior. He's a goer. He looks frail, but he packs a punch. You know, he packs a punch, and he's never going to give up. And I love playing with him. He's a good motivator, good leader. And yeah, he's just a all-around great teammate.
Well, you pack a punch as well, too. Congratulations on the win tonight. Good luck next week.
Thank you.
Thanks, Rome. Good luck, man.
Thank you.
Great game.
Rome Cox last night, big part of that win. And how he's a happy-go-lucky kid, man, right? He was loving his role. He doesn't mind. Hey, and here's the thing. And now that I know this, 2 yards for them, as Matt Dennison told us, that's a win for them, right? That's, you know, them ahead of the chains in their mind because of the offense that they run. So I'm not going to question that anymore when, you know, they're banging it up inside the guards and getting only 2 yards. In their minds, that's positive yardage. With Poochie as our quarterback, we're fine with that. And that's what they did throughout the night. And then he broke one off late in that game and outran everybody to the end zone. So happy for Rome Cox, Poochie, Matt Dennison, and the entire Canton South community and fan base. And we'll see if they can do it one more time next week against Struthers.
Yeah, they'll keep rocking. So stay tuned with WHBC. We'll announce our games. Of course, that first location kind of hinted at or told by Matt Dennison there. Yep. And all the rest we'll have updated on our website and social media and everything like that. Thank you to Nate Moore. Thank you to Matt Dennison for jumping on with us today. And, of course, one more time, happy Veterans Day to all the veterans out there. We appreciate them, and we appreciate our sponsor who, you know, I kind of read through, Kenny, multiple veterans in that family, kind of keeping Dan Brocker's Import Automotive going over the years. And that's why they're a great local business. Support veterans, they support the Huddle, and they support Stark County football.
Yeah, think about it today, right? It's a Saturday. It's Veterans Day. November 11th is always the day. So my dad was in the Army, Fort Knox, back in the 50s, right? So the freedom that we have to be able to do a show like this, to work in radio like we do, and to live in the greatest country, it's because of the men and women past and present that some have paid the ultimate sacrifice, right, for our freedom. So remember them today. Think about them today. And again, thanks to Dan Brocker's Import Automotive for being the title sponsor here of the Saturday Morning Huddle. And I want to thank DeJuan Owens for joining us along with Nate Moore today. Rome Cox and Poochie last night talking to me after the game. And we try and get as many of those interviews as we can so you can hear from the kids, right? That's what this is all about. We're doing this to give exposure to the teams and the kids, and they deserve it for all the hard work and effort that they put in. So that's what this Saturday Morning Huddle is all about. The next morning, right? What happened on Friday night? Here's what happened. And these were, the kids and coaches that made it happen last night. And then we will honor them all Thursday night at our banquet.
No doubt about that. Great way to close things out. Kenny, thank you for a great show. Thank you to everybody who tuned in. Stay tuned with us. We'll be back next Saturday to recap things here on the Saturday Morning Huddle.